All right, good afternoon, docs and liaison. Well, doctors, chiropractors, orthopedic surgeons, neurologists, interventional pain docs. If you're looking for more personal injury patients, you're in the right place today. My name is Mark Slater. I've been a practicing chiropractor for almost 25 years, all in personal injury. I've started my own personal injury practice from scratch, sold it, bought a personal injury practice in Atlanta, Georgia, had that for over 15 years, sold that, was in the laser hair removal business, because that's more cash, personal injury, delayed gratification business. So I've had my hand in a lot of businesses. I sold everything in about 2017. And at about that time, I got recruited and hired by one of the largest spinal surgeons in the Southeast to be vice president of his sales and marketing team. And the reason that he thought that I was so attractive for his business is because I had more relationships with the people that can send personal injury patients to your practice. This business is all about relationships. If you're tired of getting beaten up and getting your bills cut and being just bullied around by attorneys, it's because you haven't developed a relationship. If they don't know you, what do they care if they cut your bill 50%, 60%, or ask you to take nothing on the case? You don't have a relationship with them. As doctors, we have great relationships with our patients, but sometimes the people that send us cases, we don't have a relationship with them. So this game, the personal injury game, is all about relationships with the attorneys that can send you personal injury patients, and relationships with other medical professionals, general practitioners, primary care doctors. They normally don't want anything to do with medical legal cases. So they could be a referral source for you as well, but you have to create the relationships. Because if they don't know you, I'm gonna steal this from Grant Cardone. If I don't know you, I don't flow you. Very rarely is an attorney gonna Google a chiropractor in your town to send a patient to. Because I know for a fact, I reach out to chiropractors every day. Most of them are wellness, cash-based, and maybe take a little insurance. Very few, relatively speaking, are in this personal injury business. So if you want personal injury business, you got to do things differently. You got to think differently. And I'm going to share that with you after I share this interview today with one of my private clients, Dr. Scott Clark. Dr. Scott Clark has an integrated practice in Louisiana. He's got 2 locations. He reached out to me, and at the time he was getting less than 10 PI patients a month. And he had no framework, he had no process, no real game plan. If you don't have a game plan, you're going to be part of somebody else's game plan, right? So he called me up, got into the program, and he got working on the habits, the strategies, the things that are going to change his practice. So if you're here in the live stream, you can comment below this video if you have a question, if you have a comment. So feel free to do that. Give me a like, give me a love. If you're here live watching the live stream, I'd really appreciate that. And you can, if you're here live, you can even engage in the chat. I'll be able to see your comments, give you some feedback, but you got to ask. Okay. So I'm going to play this interview with Dr. Scott Clark about his experience in the private group. He's in the Personal Injury Accelerator group. This one right here. Okay, this is a mastermind which he also joined. He got such great results from this first program that I have that he joined my mastermind program. The mastermind program is for docs getting a minimum of 30 personal injury patients a month into their practice and generating a minimum of $50,000 per month. What we want to do is so that the mastermind is about collaborating with other doctors at a high level, because the questions that you have about scaling to the next level, some of the guys in the mastermind, sorry, I've already figured it out. It's gonna mirror image for me. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and play that video. After the video, I'm gonna give you some more tips, habits, strategies, and we'll talk about really the fundamentals of personal injury marketing. There's really 3 solid fundamentals. There's lots of things you can do, but if you just nail these 3 fundamentals down, you're gonna be so far ahead of all these other doctors flailing in the personal injury space, begging for patients, trying to get PI patients in the door, doing all kinds of things that don't even work in the market anymore. So I'm going to share with you some things that are currently working. We're in a digital society. So here we go. Let me get this ready. Hi, Mark Slater here, Prime Spine Consulting. I'm honored to have Dr. Scott Clark with me. He's a chiropractor out of Louisiana. So Scott, thank you for doing this for me to help inspire others to take action and grow their business. So thank you for doing this interview with me.
Absolutely, glad to be here.
So Scott, let me ask you, you joined my program in January of 2021. So you're a recent client into the program. Tell me the story or the little scene of what was going on in your practice and in your life, essentially, and why did you reach out to me in January of this year?
Yeah, so I think, well, first of all, we've been doing PI work for about 10 years, and we've been successful at it, but not consistent. And so, we've had some ups and downs with it as far as referrals on a monthly basis, and not really didn't really have control of what I feel like of how many referrals we were going to get. We never knew. We were really at the mercy of a few firms that we had great relationships with. So you throw 2020 into the mix last year, where things really slowed down for everybody. Fortunately, we're an integrated practice, and we were able to kind of jump on some of the medical things and COVID testing to kind of help get us through that. But I really felt like I needed to stop flying under the radar and really get out there and market our practice, and really kind of take control of making sure that our numbers were sufficient and consistent over time. And so we had been thinking about hiring a marketing person for a long time. Really didn't know how to go about it or what to do with them once we hired them. And so just happened to, at the same time earlier this year, see your Facebook ad and filled out the form, and we talked, and it felt like a good fit. And so we went ahead and signed up and moved forward.
Okay, got it. And about how many PI patients a month were you getting, like December, January? Like, where were you?
Well, it was much slower last year. We've had times when we've been, 20 to 30 referrals in a month. We've had some months where we've had, 5 to 10. And so real inconsistent, at times really slow. Other times we felt like it was really good. And, we're kind of on our way. And I wish every month could be like this kind of thing. It just wasn't.
You're wishing it into existence.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. And tell me about your when you got started in the program. Tell me about getting started in the program. Like, what did you do? Tell me a little bit about that.
So it took us 2 to 3 weeks to find the right person. And then once we hired someone in mid-February, we took first 2 weeks to do some training and for her to learn about our practice and how we operate, to learn how the PI business works, to have a basic understanding. And then she really got rolling March 1st,
okay.
And really hit the ground running. It's been pretty phenomenal.
So how many new PI patients did you get in February? Like when you just kind of started in the program, like what was the total of new PI patients in February, a month after you joined the program?
So the month of February, we had 9 referrals.
9 referrals. Okay.
9 PI referrals.
9 PI referrals in February. And let's fast forward to June of 2021. What have the past 3 months looked like for your practice in terms of new personal injury patients?
Right. So March, we immediately jumped up to 32 new referrals, which was fantastic. And then in April, we had 52. And in May, we had 36. Okay. And then the first 5 or 6 days of this month, we're already at 16. So we're expecting another big month this month. So it really, having somebody that, we kind of started with the low-hanging fruit, meaning the relationships that we already had established, and really focused on them first and making sure that they felt like they were taken care of. And that just immediately snowballed and started generating a lot more referrals than we were normally getting. And so, I understand a lot of these firms may refer to several different clinics. We wanted to be in front of them and be top of mind, as you say, and think about us first. And that's been huge, number one. And then the ability of the liaison to make friends with every front desk person and every paralegal and get past that gatekeeper and meet with attorneys and set up meetings for me has been huge. We've gotten new business in firms that we never thought we would be able to work with, firms that we know have great relationships with other providers. And now, we're getting a piece of that and getting an opportunity to show what we can do with it. So it's really great.
So you didn't let, I don't want to call them limiting beliefs, but maybe stories that, well, they're never going to work with us because they already refer to that practice, or, they're already like, you didn't let any of that stop you. Is that what you're telling me, Scott?
That's right. That's right. There's nobody that we won't talk to. There's certain firms that we won't work with. I'll say that. But those that we know have other relationships that that have been on vacation with other providers that are great friends, or their kids go to school together. There's still room there, and we want to make sure that they know that we're actively out there wanting to do business with them, reciprocate with them, and so. No, the worst they can say is no. So we don't have any stops or any limitations on who we're talking to or who we'll meet with.
Okay, and is there any like really deciding factor or a real breakthrough that you want to share that really move the needle of your practice?
I would say number one, your liaison, they have to be fearless. They have to be friendly. My liaison, if she goes by there and the attorney won't meet with them and they say, come back another time, she'll go back the next day. She'll go back 3 days in a row until she meets with them. She's relentless.
Yeah.
Always with a smile on her face. And I think that's super important is to have someone who's not afraid to get out there and speak highly of you. I think you also, we've been pretty creative in some of the things that we've done. I'll give you an example. One firm that we had never done any business with before, that was pretty entrenched with who they use. We were talking about setting up a lunch at a particular restaurant, and the front desk administrator had never been there. Oh, I've never been to that restaurant. I hear it's great. My liaison came back the next day with a $50 gift card for her to go to lunch there on her time. And so that got us a meeting, and that set up some potential business in the future. We recently hired a food truck and parked that outside one of the big firms, and then just gave everybody passes to go with our logo on it, of course, and koozies, and they were able to go. And so we've kind of gotten creative with some of the things that we've done. That's been real effective to get to meet everybody in the office, not just one or two attorneys that gets out of the office.
That's right. So you're building rapport with a front desk person, the paralegal. Of course, you want to build rapport with the attorney, but before you get to the attorney, there's other steps involved when you send a liaison in there. So that's great work, Scott. And Scott, let me ask you this question. Are you in a city, because you got like over 50 new PI referrals within the first 4 months of working in the program, are you in a city like Chicago or Miami or Los Angeles?
No, I'm in Lafayette, Louisiana. So South Central Louisiana. Our area is probably about 200 to 250,000 people. That's including a pretty large area. But no, we're not in a big city. Everybody here, we're kind of a big small town. Everybody here knows everybody and grew up together, that kind of thing. I'm not from here originally, so still able to create those relationships and. But we market a really big area as well. So even the big cities a few hours away from us, like Houston or New Orleans, we're marketing there as well.
And you market there because those cities advertise in your market.
Absolutely.
So they need doctors in your market.
Yes, and they're pretty surprised when we knock on their door. They're happy to send us their business because now they know somebody, and so in that area.
So this program is a little better than wishing it were to be different.
You got to take action. Yeah, no, it's been fantastic for us. I'm really excited about the growth that we've seen so far, and I should have done this a long time ago. But no, the program is great. It's gotten us organized, and it really helped me to be able to hire someone and know what to do with them, know what the strategies are. Being able to set up monthly calendars in advance and knowing knowing who we're going to see 3 months from now and how often we're going to see them and what we're going to do for them. It's been great.
So do you feel like you have a little more ownership of your marketing now? You can plan it out. You know what the numbers are going to be. You know, you have more control now. Do you feel that?
Absolutely. We're going to, we're seeing that we're going to be able to stay consistent at a high level. And that's, sky's the limit whenever you get to that point. So it's good.
I love it. Well, Dr. Clark, I want to thank you so much for doing this interview with me. I think you're going to help inspire and hopefully motivate other people that may have been in your position to finally take action and start having the practice that they envision for themselves. So I want to sincerely thank you for doing this interview with me, Scott. And before I let you go, anything else you want to add? Any parting shot? Any takeaway from, or anything you want to add at this point?
First of all, I want to say thank you to you for this program. I think it's a niche that's much needed in our profession, and for those that are in the personal injury arena. It helps us to better serve our communities, and so I would say take action. Don't wait till things are perfect, or certainly weren't. We just started going, and that's the most important thing. It's just go 90 miles an hour and work out the details as you go. And certainly, if anybody in this group has any questions, or would like to talk about it, my door is always open. Feel free to give me a call. Okay, do you want to give your phone number? Sure. It's 337-232-3353 is our office number, and we have a couple of clinics, integrated clinics, and I'm always happy to bounce ideas off of other people and to learn from everyone I come into contact with. So yeah, and maybe create a few more relationships that may offer you something down the road. Absolutely. All right. Well, Scott, again, thank you so much for doing this for me. Congratulations on all the success. But hey, man, you did it. It was all you. You did it, man. Congratulations. Good job. Thank you, Mark. Yeah, appreciate it. All right. Thanks so much for doing this, and have a great day, Scott. All right. You too.
All right, my appreciation to Dr. Scott Clark for indulging me with that interview. He volunteered that. I mean, he really took this program, and like he said, he goes 100 miles an hour. He hired his marketer within 3 weeks, and he was up and running. Usually it takes double that amount to get a marketer on your team. All right, so I promised you that I was going to talk about the 3 pillars of personal injury marketing that Dr. Clark used. So here we go. The first one, really quickly. I like this. Okay. The first one, a social media plan, right? Just because you have a Facebook page, a LinkedIn page, an Instagram page, you have to have a plan. It's more, you got to do more than just have a plan. You got to post content. Not only that, we can use social media now through the power of digital marketing and our phone to reach out to attorneys, people that can send us cases on a massive scale now that wasn't available 10, 15 years ago. Not email marketing, not cold calling. Those days are over. There's no more yellow pages. Cold calling is like 1985. Reaching out through the power of direct messaging on social media, getting in conversations with attorneys, because direct messaging, it's conversational. You can go back and forth. Email is not like that. Email, you take a bunch of ideas or a theme and you throw it against the wall, you blast it out to thousands of people, and you hope a couple of people respond. But with direct messaging, it's conversational, right? You can get into a conversation, and towards the end of that conversation, ask, hey, you want to come to my office, or can I meet you for lunch one day, or let's get on a Zoom, right? If you're not using the power of Zoom for your meetings, right now you're falling way behind in technology, because attorneys learned how to Zoom during the pandemic. Zoom depositions, Zoom bench trials, Zoom court, all these attorneys learned how to Zoom. And what they're telling me is that it's not going to go away because the judges love it. The judges like Zoom, they can get through their calendar faster. So it's here to stay. So if you have any limiting beliefs or you're not taking action to learn how to leverage the power of Zoom to get into more conversations with attorneys, you're also going to be falling far behind, because that's what my members are doing. So that's the first strategy. Have a social media plan specifically for personal injury. So I'll show you how to reach out. I'll show you the conversations, how they start, the questions to ask, how to handle the objections, and what these attorneys want to know. These are not what they want to know, but what's going to stimulate them to be interested. These attorneys have pain points, right? Things that they hate about working with doctors, things that they enjoy about working with doctors. So if you know what those pain points are, it's not necessarily hate or enjoy. It's about how can this chiropractor help me get maximum policy limits to their notes, documentation, and all that. So if you want to do better in your practice, you've got to be better. If you feel that your clinical excellence is not up to standards, go learn. There's great consultants in the market. I stay in my lane. I don't help you with clinical excellence, but what I will do is get you in front of more attorneys and more doctors that can send you cases in your town, your city, and your entire state very fast through a social media plan. So that's the number one, fundamental. The second one, a dedicated personal injury marketing liaison specifically for your office, a full-time, I don't want to call, well, they are an employee, but this person is, I don't want you to consider them an employee expense, because this person's sole responsibility is to grow your personal injury practice. You heard Dr. Clark say that his liaison gets him the meetings. That liaison is out there planning meetings for the doctor, Zoom calls, lunches, and he said for the next 90 days, his whole calendar is filled with meetings with attorneys. The good news about doing Zoom calls, you don't have to come out of pocket for lunch, right? Sometimes, I mean, I had probably a 500 batting average when I was taking attorneys to lunch throughout my career. A lot of the times they would just cover it because they liked me. They liked what I had to say. They liked my presentation. They wanted to do business with me. So when lawyers buy the lunch and they pick up the tab, they like you. So having a strategy with a personal injury marketing liaison to walk into law firms, walk into doctors' offices, general practitioners, primary care doctors that are not owned by a hospital system. You are not going to get any patients from a primary care doctor or a primary care doctor group that is owned by a hospital system. Don't bother. Okay. But that marketing liaison is going to meet all the MRI reps and become friends with the MRI reps. The MRI reps know every single attorney in town. Hey, MRI rep, here's a little gold bar value for you today. Call your marketing rep, your MRI marketing person that works for the MRI company, and say, you know what? I like doing business with you, but I need a favor. I need you to introduce me to 5 new cool attorneys that I don't know. 5, the coolest attorneys you know. I want you to set up a meeting with me. Do that right now. That's an action item. That's a bonus for today. Having a marketer in the street with goals, a set of goals, key performance indicators, KPIs, how many contacts to make per day, whether it's a new contact or a follow-up contact, how many Zoom calls to set up for you per week, how many lunches to set up for you per week, how many thank you notes to write to the attorneys that gave them positive feedback in the market. How many of you doctors are writing thank you notes after you meet attorneys? Probably none. It's an action item and it works. Most attorneys get hate mail, lawsuits, bills. How nice is it to get a thank you note in the mail, stamped old school, just for being nice to somebody and giving them, your time. Okay, so that's the second pillar, is having a dedicated personal injury marketing liaison, so that where you're busy doing what you were trained to do in chiropractic school or medical school and take care of patients, you have a dedicated person out in the market, out in the field, representing you, your brand, and your practice, creating the relationship, setting up meetings with you that are going to fill your practice with personal injury patients month after month, year after year, as long as you keep your side of the street clean and do everything the right way, the honest way, the ethical way, and have a good relationship with these attorneys that you're going to meet. Yeah, I know a lot of attorneys out there are scumbags. So are doctors. But let's just focus on the attorneys. There are so many of them in your city that you don't have to work with the scumbags. I don't mean to insult them. Some of my best friends are attorneys, personal injury attorneys. I love them. But some of dentists are scumbags, chiropractors are scumbags, carpet cleaners. There's bad people in every industry. It's not just in personal injury. Okay. So a dedicated marketing liaison is going to help you create those relationships that are evergreen. Meaning, as long as you keep your side of the street clean and continue that relationship, you'll have referrals coming in for years. When I owned my medical clinic, I had an integrated practice. We had 4 or 5 lawyers that just sent us 3, 5 every single month. They just loved working with us. So the goal here is to find eventually 3 the first month, and then 5 the second month total, and then 7 and 9 and 10 and then 15 every month, sending you 1 or 2 cases a month, right? Hockey stick growth. It'll be flat and then it'll go exponential, like a hockey stick. That's what we want. But you have to do 2 things baked into this. And those 2 things, there's 2 principles: massive numbers and consistency. Volume and consistency, right? Every single day, small, consistent little actions lead to big results down the road. Okay. All right. The third pillar of personal injury marketing is your communications with these attorneys. When you get on a Zoom call like this, and I'm an attorney, I'm going to ask you this question. Dr. Johnson, why should I send you my client? I have lots of relationships with other chiropractors in your neighborhood. Why should I send you my client? What's your big promise? Do you have an answer for that? Right? Do you know what these attorneys want to hear? Right? Do you know what their pain points are? Do you know what keeps them up at night when they send clients to chiropractors? If you're trained and know what those pain points are, and you can address those in your conversations with attorneys, it's going to make you more attractive. And knowing that is just going to help you get more PI patients. Knowing the pain points of these attorneys, what pisses them off when they work with doctors, what makes them happy when they work with doctors. And if you can address those, that's the third pillar of PI marketing, your communications with the legal community, right? And also, I want to go back. Dr. Clark said something about his marketing liaison. The marketing liaison just wasn't there trying to get past the gatekeeper. Yes, we want to get past the gatekeeper, the front desk person, but we also have to create a relationship with that front desk person and any other staff member that you may come in contact with, a paralegal, a case manager. Record their names, get to know them, because you're going to be encountering them when your marketer walks into the office way before they encounter the attorney. So if you go in there and you're not asking their names, you're not building any rapport with them, they're going to go like, yeah, he's not here. Come back next month, right? Which basically means never come back, because you don't care enough to ask them questions, find out who they are, and take some notes so you can get some, talking points when you come back in there. Hey, tell me how your daughter did in her softball game. Oh my God, I remember your son just started his T-ball week, or he started playing football for the first time, and Pee Wee football. How did he do in his first game? Like, this is going to help you get, I'll bring the attorney out. Let me put you in the waiting room over here in the conference room. Let me bring the attorney out. Okay. So I wanted to cover the 3 pillars of PI marketing: a social media plan, a dedicated personal injury marketing liaison for your practice, and 3, better communications with attorneys. Knowing their pain points and be able to address those pain points makes you a better marketer in the personal injury space. Okay, so just wrapping it up here. If you need a replay of this, just type FAST in the comments and I'll be happy to send you a replay of this video, because I'm going to be taking it down in a few hours, because this is a live stream. I do leave it up for a few hours, but I do take it down. But if you want to replay, just type comment FAST in the comments below, and I'll shoot you this video. And if you want a phone call with me, just hit me up on Facebook. Send me a message. Hey, Mark, I want to learn more. We can either set up a 15-minute phone call, or we can do a 45-minute strategy session via Zoom, and I'll show you the whole process where we hit all 3 of those pillars with the 2 principles: volume and consistency. Those are the 2 ingredients or principles that are baked into this process. Okay. All right. We're going to be here every Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern in a live stream to talk about some personal injury marketing, to help you with some ideas, to get you out of your head. If you get in your head, you're dead, and give you actionable items that you can use to grow your personal injury practice. So I want to thank everyone for showing up today. One more quick check here. Okay. All right. I want to thank everyone for showing up today. I really appreciate you joining me here in this live stream. I know there were about around 10 of you here in the live stream today. Awesome. We're going to see you next Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern right here. in the Personal Injury Marketing Facebook group, helping chiropractors and doctors grow PI. I'm Mark Slater from Prime Spine Consulting. Have an awesome day, everybody. We'll see you next week.